if guys are just going to position themselves, if you're getting drafted just on name on the helmet, I mean, shoot, why not? Why not for a year? You have no you don't care if we win, we don't win. Look, I was playing 3:30 CBS versus everybody got it. You don't have to have cable, you know what I'm saying? And everybody would know your name.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Coach Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today, we've got a six-man match going on. We've got Mike King sitting in for my partner. Mike, how are you today on this Throwdown Thursday?
Doing well. How you doing?
Oh, we're doing wonderful, and we have Captain for Life, Will Cotton. Will, thanks for sitting in on our Throwdown Thursday edition.
How's it going, everybody? Love to be here.
All right. So on our Throwdown Thursday edition today, we're going to talk some transfer portal stories, some ramifications of some recent hirings and firings. And I can't wait to talk St. John's with my boy here. And in segment 3, we'll take it back to college coaching and talk a little bit about what Mr. Beamer's doing in South Carolina and what Mr. Huggins is doing at West Virginia. But let's start off with Alabama. Former UAB, that's University of Alabama, Birmingham defensive back Jalen Kay, the top-ranked safety in the transfer portal, has committed to Alabama last week. Mike, Alabama is now on a regular basis hitting the portal. What do you think about that? Because this is new.
For Alabama,
They're plucking from UAB now, plucking the best safety. And this guy turned down, he took an official visit to Alabama, and he turned down Florida State and Ole Miss. And he was also ranked as the 17th best transfer. So
that means for Alabama is the 5-star safety who was going to get the chance. Now he's going to want to go to the portal. And he might be better than certain schools. The portal makes sense. I feel like a school like Alabama that has future NFL players not starting at every position, it's a little tricky because, again, people are going to leave quick. And a lot of times guys at Alabama that end up being first, second round picks, they only get 1 or 2 years starting. This is I want to play now kind of generation. There's no, I'm going to sit through, I'm going to red shirt and sit and I'll wait and I'm going to get my chance. It's okay. You got that person? See ya.
All right, Will, strictly for entertainment purposes only, I'm sure you're watching Alabama. What do you think about them picking up a UAB safety? They needed a safety. It's after spring football. They got quarterback that we talked about last week. What are you thinking about with Alabama now?
I mean, I'm sure if this kid went to AB, I'm sure he was having those conversations for the last year or so with somebody, a coach or another player. I mean, those guys probably go out and, party each other and be like, hey, man, how's it going? Well, you should come play with us. I mean, if anything is going to change that kid from being a second rounder, now playing Alabama turns into a first rounder, which turns into his money up. You know what I'm saying? If guys are just if guys are just going to position themselves, if you're getting drafted just on name on the helmet, I mean, shoot, why not? Why not for a year? You have you don't care if we win, we don't win. Look, I was playing 3:30 CBS versus everybody got it. You don't have to have cable, you know what I'm saying? And everybody would know your name. And if you have any kind of good kind of game, I mean, you right up in there. So, I would never hate on a kid like that, especially if he can make that move. Because at the same time, there's times we see coaches will handcuff guys. I don't want you going in conference. I don't want you going in state.
Yeah,
I don't want
not
you
anymore. That's done. That day is done.
So I think, kids are now looking at the best opportunity for themselves, which is great, because at the end of the day, if my dream is to be in the NFL, then, hey, Alabama's the path. Georgia's the path. You know what I'm saying? Ohio State, the path. So, at the end of the day, we're just going to have better games. I mean, if we're going to have guys who are bringing in guys into the SEC who are, now I'm like, what? This guy has to be like 20 at least. I mean, God, I don't, but we're going to have a lot better competition, and at the same time, Alabama's not the only team doing it. You know, there's a
Yeah.
ton of teams who are grabbing guys who are the best team here or the best team in CAA or the best team over here. And I think it's great. I think it creates a lot of parity for SEC. And, I think Alabama's getting scared because they're seeing what Georgia was doing. And they're like, well, we got our butt whooped the last 2 years. So we got to
Yes, we
change what we're
did.
doing. Which you have to kind of give them a little like, hey, man, like you're not antiquated. You're not stuck in your ways. Like you're willing to say, hey, look, I'm gonna go. You're not Gary Williams. Sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to say that. I'm not taking AAU guys. Well, looks at the guys now who are going to NBA, the AAU guys. So applaud the kids who are going to Alabama for figuring it out, and the NCAA should just let it rock, man. I mean, everybody's just letting it rock. I think it's fun. So
All right. So FAU, Florida Atlantic fans, Nebraska quarterback Casey Thompson committed to Florida Atlantic. He told ESPN last week. So by joining the Owls for his final season of eligibility, the one-time Texas signee is reunited with his Texas coach, Tom Herman, who was hired in December after a couple of years away from coaching. Thompson signed with Texas as a three-star prospect out of Newcastle, Oklahoma High School. He redshirted his first year with the Longhorns, didn't really break through until the 2020 Alamo Bowl against Colorado. Herman was fired in 21 after winning 4 bowl games in 4 seasons with the Longhorns. Thompson stuck with the Longhorns, started the final 10 games of 2021 under new coach Steve Sarkisian before entering the transfer portal. Thompson enrolled in Nebraska, where he started 10 games in 2022 while battling through injuries. Upon his second entry into the portal, he was a 37th quarterback on the market. He visited Auburn in May, but the Tigers found somebody else and a former Michigan State quarterback. So now, Mike, we've got the second tier guys getting air quote top tier guys. What do you think about FAU making this big plunge for this 1 year wonder as Tom Herman is reunited with his former recruit?
Been on that many teams, and you were good. You'd probably still be in one of those teams. That's my thought. One of them would have found a way to keep you.
Okay. Will, what do you think? Are you with Mike? This is a dude on his third team, and I'm just get as much education as you can, or what are you thinking?
I mean, this is they've been doing this in basketball for years. In high school, I mean, God, I love my boy D Nice. D Nice went to everywhere. D Nice went to every school, man. And we all know guys who played for every school. And my thing is, if he wasn't playing basketball and if he was maybe doing he doing like his legal studies, or if he was doing his doctorate, nobody would care. Nobody would care. I'm at Duke. Things aren't working. I'm gonna go over to North Carolina. Things are working over here. I'm gonna go over here. Nobody would care. But because they're playing football, it becomes an issue. Now, it's about you and your conversation that you have with your inner people. If that's the decision that decision that's best for you. So I applaud it. And I think they're kids. I mean, let them be kids, because when they will be adults and they get to the NFL, it ain't gonna be like, well, I'm gonna go over here. Well, I'm gonna go over here. And I ain't gonna play over here because I'm gonna play over here. Dude, use the best opportunity that you can, because remember, Baker Mayfield was trash. And then he went to Oklahoma and became the Heisman and made all this money and was commercials. Why not? Why?
Yeah.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow,
Joe
same
Burrow.
thing. So so go for it, man. I know it's not full, but shoot, go for it, man. If you can do it and it's legal, do it. I'm with it.
So the last person I want to talk about is Notre Dame. They just picked up Rhode Island defensive back Antonio Carter. I really liked his story because he's a redshirt junior who entered the transfer portal during the spring window and saw his recruitment take off. He had offers from LSU, Florida, Ole Miss, Wisconsin, Texas A&M, among others. But ultimately, he felt that the Irish was his best fit. And I love what he said. He said, and I quote him, what stood out about Notre Dame was what stood out with Notre Dame the most was the fact that it's a quality school. Just being on campus, my parents, they saw it was a quality school. It was a very chill environment. South Bend is not much to do there, but kind of go to school and go to football. He said, and will respect this from me. It's a place I can lock in and not worry about other things that don't matter. That's from the college kid, so to speak. He wasn't a highly recruited prospect out of high school. This kid's a 5'10", 155-pound corner coming out of high school, coming out of Orlando, Florida. He chose Rhode Island and developed into an excellent defender. As a redshirt, he played well. He went through spring practice, talked to his coaches throughout the process, and the Rhode Island coaches, to their credit, said, if it doesn't work out, we are holding a spot for you until you say otherwise. And here's the last thing before I get your thoughts. He said about Notre Dame's coaches, the coaches see me fitting in as being a versatile tool as a defensive back, playing all the positions, safety, nickel, dime. They have some big corners, so I'll find a place to fit in. And that's the point that I think Will was making earlier. There's a business side to this sports thing. We talk often about difference makers versus role players, and it's okay to be a role player. If you can find a role, you can make a lot of money in professional athletics. The player wanted a bigger stage with little noise. You go to the SEC, their fan bases are crazily unrealistic. Go to Notre Dame and South Bend, maybe you don't get that kind of heat. South Bend is South Bend. You know, Notre Dame education, a huge network. He's known for playing a role. This kid did business the right way, and that's winning. He did business at Rhode Island the right way, and he did business coming in Notre Dame the right way. So Will, it's a former player of mine, listening to what he said, and you can kind of see Adams like, oh, okay. Tell me what you think about that move before we close out this segment.
I think he's he's in tune with himself. I think that's the biggest thing anybody can do. I hate to take a shot at him, but it sounds like you may be a little slower than the SEC DBs are. I mean, let's keep it real. I mean, come on. If teams like LSU, Florida, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, those guys have speed. They're named for DBU. You know what I'm saying? So these guys got ballers. But being true to yourself means, man, look, I might not play the best. We may win, but this may be the best team I'm on, but I may not thrive out it. So I think knowing who you are and sticking where you need to and giving valid reasons. I mean, focusing on the game, great coaches, and then remember now he talks about, oh, well, we have big corners. I'm the team guy. He's not even thinking about himself. He's like, man, look, we have great corners. We have great coaches, and to be honest with you, Notre Dame is always in it. They win 8 games. Shoot, they're right there talking about the playoff. The whole, so, I wish more kids could be as mature as a young man, because some guys will just leave and just do it. He left and have a reason, and people can do nothing but just respect him. So God bless that man. I hope he succeeds.
And Mike, I wanted you in because for the last 20 some odd years, you've helped kids pick college, and you've seen kids pick right. You've seen kids pick wrong. You've seen kids pick for some of the strangest reasons. So I'd like your thoughts before we close this segment on that gentleman's process.
Well, it seems like he's got the best of both worlds, because he talked about the academic piece and the benefits there. And the other part of it is he's 6'1", 200 pounds. So he's got NFL size. And if they're going to use him in all sorts of spots, that's kind of what NFL people want to see. Can't just be a safety. You can't just be a corner. It can't just be slot. You got to be able to do anything and everything. So he's going to be put in a position to succeed. He's going to get a national audience. So he's going to get his name out there more than he did at Rhode Island. And if that doesn't work out, he falls back on the education part, which is the main thing that he mentioned. So this is like a win-win-win. And applaud the process.
All right. So when we get back, fans, we're going to talk about some coaching now. We're going to talk about Auburn and Hugh Freeze and Will's alma mater at St. John's. They might be out of a couple of dollars if they keep going down this direction. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast.
The CKA SAVE Project is an industry leader in advocating for student-athlete, academic, and athletic needs. Through academic and athletic enrichment, the CKA SAVE project is on the forefront of the issues facing 21st century student athletes. As student athletes continue to struggle to find a better balance between academic and athletic success, the CKA SAVE project offers academic and athletic services to support student athlete academic success, including academic skills assessment, academic and athletic consulting, academic monitoring, academic and athletic workshops. For more information or to schedule a free consultation, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 2. We're going to talk about Auburn football first in terms of Hugh Freeze trying to build his roster. Hugh Freeze was a controversial hire. Auburn is known for firing a coach pretty quickly. Hugh Freeze has had some questionable decisions in his past. That's kind of how he was available. He was at liberty to rehab himself after some poor decision making. We'll just say it like that. But let's talk about what's his plan. So Hugh Freeze said he's trying to get the right players on the campus. He has flipped several prospects. He's got 20 incoming freshmen coming in. He's also brought in the number 7 incoming transfer class. Now we got to rate transfer classes too. That's interesting. Hugh Freeze said it's hard to pinpoint one thing beyond recruiting that's correlated to success at his different spots. Schematically, he's going to run an up-tempo offense. That's what he's trying to do. But man, in a span of 7 seasons, Freeze went from a high school coach in Tennessee to a successful SEC coach with the Ole Miss Rebels. Then he wasn't mature enough to handle everything that came at him, and now he's got another shot at the big time. Mike, you know the story of Hugh Freeze. You also know that the SEC is big boy football. Do you think this guy can get it done with all the things he's got to deal with?
Can he find Cam Newton?
There's no Cam Newton walking through that door last I checked, sir.
So 2-6, 5-7. What was it? 5-7 overall, 2-6 in conference. Conference isn't getting easier.
No.
As we're
Texas,
saying,
Oklahoma's coming.
and Alabama's now taking what they want in the transfer portal. So it's only getting harder. Auburn's just it's a tough spot. Again, as a Maryland fan stuck in a conference with 3 schools that they can't compete with. There's no chance. That's Auburn. So good luck. I'm living it. Sucks.
Yes, as 8-4 as they dance to Byron's Grill or wherever you guys are going to go.
Get to 6-6 and smile. You had a great year.
So now, Will, I'm tagging you in. St. John's. Stay out of court, man. Discovery's going to get you. Former St. John's men's basketball coach Mike Anderson said he was fired with cause in March only so the school could avoid paying his buyout and use that money to hire Rick Pitino. Mike Anderson is seeking $45.6 million from the university, of the $11.4 million left on his contract, and an additional $34.2 million for punitive damages. So let's look at why he was fired. According to his termination letter, Anderson was fired for failure to create and support the environment that strongly encourages student athletes who are in the men's basketball program to meet all academic requirements. Unfortunately for St. John's, in Anderson's legal filing, he rebutted that claim, citing that his program had a Big East Academic Excellence Award in 2020. But hey, you guys wanted Pitino, and you're excited about Pitino, but Will, how y'all gonna handle this? Because Mike Anderson in the business has a highbrow reputation, and this is not going to end well if y'all don't settle. So you being the alum, what are you thinking about this? Or I don't care, we got Pitino.
Yeah, I've been talking to buddies about it. I have a close group chat. We're talking about it. They'll probably read it in the middle, probably $22 million, $20 million or so. $40 million get people to notice you. So I think they'll meet in the middle. I think at the end of the day, like you said, they want to stay. They're very conservative in terms of university. They don't want to make a noise. They don't want to do a splash.
Remember what happened with UConn and Kevin Oliver.
Exactly.
Okay.
They don't want to get in a big issue with that. So I think they'll meet in the middle. I think they'll strung it on as they can, and eventually they'll just say, "Hey, look, what about $20 million, 22, $23 million?" Because at the end of the day, they'll make this money back. I mean, Patino is going to make that money back if they can make it to the 32 out of the 64. If they can make it to the 32 round, great. If they make it to the Sweet 16, it's like, well, who cares, Mike Anderson? What was he? It's unfortunate because he's a brother. I wanted him to do well. He just could not create a organization where like the offense wasn't running, the defense wasn't running. Now, I won't say the kids were bad academically. I mean, I've never read a kid not being ineligible or not playing. But I mean, it's business, man. It's as we get more trickly down, as the money and NIL gets more featured, you're going to see more stuff like that. I mean, shoot, Mike Anderson. I mean, you got NBA coaches who lost their jobs after they won a championship. You haven't even been to the tourney, So look, man, take your money, be loud as you want, as long as they keep him out of court, like you said, and just make it real. Like,
Stay out. Stay out.
Give you the money. Nobody will even know Mike Anderson, who he was, what he has, but he's walking around in Hawaii with $20 million. So that's all that matters.
All right. So with that, fans, when we come back, we've got two more stories. We're going to talk about Shane Beamer on the way up. Talk about Bob Huggins possibly on the way down. We'll be right back on the Yacht Coaches Podcast.
Why should student athletes use the CKA SAVE Project academic and athletic consulting services? Over the past 15 to 20 years, colleges, universities, professional sports teams, business organizations, and others have increased their use of consulting services to improve their decision-making processes and results. Over the same time, the athletic and academic landscape has changed for high school and college student athletes as the NCAA has raised initial academic eligibility requirements for student athletes while decreasing the number of transfer restrictions. Former college student athletes have noted that they were academic and athletically unprepared for the rigors of college. Let the CKA SAVE Project's close to 30 years of academic and athletic experience help guide student athletes to increase success as we work to help student athletes achieve the goal of obtaining a college degree. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@cksaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Yacht Coaches Podcast in segment 3. South Carolina's coach and son of Frank Beamer, Shane Beamer, is coaching in major college football. This guy has taken bits and pieces from all of the 2 decades he's been in and around college football, and he's starting to gain some buzz, gain some energy at South Carolina. Now, I don't know how long this is going to last because you got Texas and Oklahoma coming, and they're going to move away from the East and the West pretty soon, and now you're going to have to play some people on a regular basis. But here's Beamer's plan to sustain his energy and success at South Carolina. He said he saw coaches come in from programs and literally take every slogan and everything from those programs. He wanted kids to see him, as himself. So he's been willing to do the TikTok videos, the Snapchats, the Twitter, the Facebook. He's done a lot of viral marketing. And as a result of that, there's a lot of energy going to South Carolina football. But Mike, you got some real horses in the SEC. Did this guy luck up into a good season, or is South Carolina going to be good for a regular period of time? What do you think, Mike?
The dancing and the TikTok videos only go so far. Ask Brian Kelly. It's embarrassing. He's got something going because they're paying people. That's how he's getting all these guys from Maryland. Like, he got all these good recruits because they're paying money. The problem is in the SEC, guess what? Your school's paying a lot more. So yeah, you're going to get to 7-5, which in the SEC is fantastic when you're not one of the schools that matter. And they don't matter, and they won't matter, but they'll have good years for SEC schools not named Alabama, LSU, Georgia.
Okay.
Solid.
All right.
It'd
So
be
now
expensive though.
it'd be expensive.
But
All
7
right.
wins will cost money.
Okay. So now, Will, you've got the heavy lifter. West Virginia basketball coach Bob Huggins will return to the sideline. He did not lose his job in the wake of using an anti-gay slur in a radio interview. That dude on the radio needs somebody to talk to him, but that's another story. He has agreed to a multi-million dollar, to a $1 million salary reduction, a 3-game suspension, and sensitivity training. As my compliance guy, how you going to recruit when you got all this going on, man? So tell me your thoughts on the West Virginia situation. Did they handle it well? Were they too light with it? Yeah. What do you think, Will?
I mean, at the end of the day, West Virginia is West Virginia. I mean, if it wasn't Duke or if it was North Carolina or Maryland, that kid's gone. That kid's gone. What he said was ugly. I mean, and people might say, "Oh, what if he said the N-word? What if he said something else about women?" I mean, that guy, he's a loose cannon. He's lucky that he can even take the penalties that he could, because if it was me, I'd have fired him. I'd say, "Look, man, like we're not perennials. We're not Duke. We're not North Carolina. We're not Maryland. We're not, all these big schools. Get out of here. He's old anyway. Get some answer. Get some.
He's already got in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, you have nothing. Like, man, look, you cut him a check, call him a day. Say, man, look, thank you for your business.
For your service.
Thank you, sir, for helping us out, and call it a day. The fact that they kept him, they're weak. That's weak to me. That's weak.
I don't think he's gonna. I think he'll make it through the season, but I think they're already thinking about the change of plan because they had to.
But I think they'll give him the option. I think they'll say, look, coach this year, voluntarily retire.
Yeah, who you gonna bring in? Because if I'm on a road recruiting against West Virginia, yeah, I'm gonna say, is this the dude you want to play for?
Yeah, go get a young dude. This is a perfect time, and if I was West Virginia, I'd say, look, you have 1 more year, retire. Let's go get a minority head coach. Let's get a black brother, or get somebody Hispanic. Flow the whole thing out of their mind. Like, look, we totally understand. We don't believe in that stuff. It's ugly that they even have to deal with it, because I know they're like, look, we just trying to win.
Yeah, it's hard to win in the Big 12 now. We just
trying to just win. And on top of that, now you got people talking crazy, and they're gonna have people who are in the crowd. I'm talking about banners,
big banners,
fire,
noise.
Those kids are going to be unrelentless. They are going to be on his bleep.
Yeah, I don't like noise.
It's going to be I'm talking about out front of his office. We want you to go. Da da da. It's going to be so bad. So get through the season. Get through the guys that you need to get through. Anyone who wants to transfer. Anyone wants to stay, give them the true. This is what's going to happen. And move forward. Get rid of him. I mean, the guy has nothing to be here anymore. He just lost $1 million. I mean, you're not going to win a bonus unless they kind of sneakily add it in, like, oh, we'll get it back to you if you win, like,
Don't let
16
that one go.
games, 18 games. But
Mike, you're my social studies guy. What are you thinking about how West Virginia adjudicated this whole matter?
I think they had an out, and they should have taken it. They didn't even have to lie like St. John's and say it was academics. I just went to the St. John's page about the coach. There's a whole paragraph about how he's had 25 guys put on the all academic team in just 3 years. Mm-hmm. Historic. St. John's just lying. And West Virginia, they were just given, here's an out. You can get out of all this money, hire someone else, because Bob Huggins, you're going to get what you're going to get. You're not getting like 20 years ago. You're getting Bob Huggins now. You're going to play defense, and you're going to lose in the first or second round.
And it was crass. It was just bad. I mean, I could see it, it wasn't even like a slip. It wasn't like the guy who did the Negro League the museum where he said the wrong thing.
No, just stay away from that one, man.
This was just straight up and said it twice.
And the host is egging this guy on. You're like, what?
Oh no, he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing.
You got a chance to save millions of dollars Hire someone younger, pay them less, save money to the university. You can get the exact same results or better. And you blew it.
Man, you blew it.
And you blew it.
All right, fans.
Weird situation. I mean, it was a weird situation anyway. Like they were throwing rubber dildos on the court.
Okay, we're gonna totally walk away from all of that. And fans, all week long, we've been celebrating crossing over the 300 threshold. Again, shout out to my tag team partner, Coach Franchise, our voice, Sharita Campbell, our super producer, Kelly. I got to say, this has been great this week having you guys guest host with us. Mike, to have our social studies room conversations become public, along with Brian Bobian, who also worked with us on the OCP. It's just been a pleasure to have you here, and to legitimately fans have my team captain on as often as I can get him on. It means the world to me. So thank you both for your time, your efforts, the high level of financial nothing that you get from No Budget Productions. So again, on behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Francis, I am Dr. Keith Adams. That's a joke for beyond the scene here. Saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, and we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.